Tom DeLonge has UFO secrets that kept him up for 3 nights. He said these beings have been around forever. There are many things happening within the UAP phenomenon, what we know as UFOs. With the recent Mexican UAP hearings, the entire world has come to learn about how governments worldwide are earnestly investigating this phenomenon. It's not solely about alien objects flying at supersonic speeds. The UAP phenomenon is intrinsically connected to our reality. Such like-minded individuals as Jacques Valley and Michio Kaku propose the existence of other dimensions, also known as parallel universes, coexisting alongside our own reality. And within these dimensions, it's plausible that there are beings or entities living alongside us, despite our inability to perceive them. Interestingly, Tom DeLonge, the former lead vocalist and guitarist of the popular band Blink-182, has always had a keen interest in UFOs, and he spent many years researching and studying the topic. He has even formed a company, to the Stars Academy of Arts and Science, or to the Stars, to investigate and promote research on UFOs and other related phenomena. DeLonge even paid a visit to Rome with former Pentagon UFO official Luis Elizondo, where they discovered shocking details about the 2004 Sicily UFO attack. His To the Stars is behind publishing the 3 footage captured in 2004 and 2015 by U.S. Navy that were released in 2017 and 18. They depict UFOs and include audio recordings of the pilots, and these videos gained a lot of attention when they were released. Tom's fondness for UFOs began at a young age. As a child, he was fascinated by stories of alien encounters and sightings. He used to spend hours reading books and watching documentaries about unidentified flying objects, and was particularly interested in the 1947 Roswell UFO crash. And furthermore, his research led him to conclude that UFOs are not only real, but that they have alien origins. He believes that there is a wealth of evidence to support this conclusion, including reports of sightings and encounters, as well as physical evidence such as radar tracks and photographs. In his podcast with Dr. Brian Keating, Tom DeLonge shared several insights and personal experiences related to his involvement in UFO research. He was asked by TOE host Kurt Jaimungal what it was that kept him up for 3 days. DeLonge at first hesitated to delve into this topic, but continues to talk about his communication with Jim Semivan, who is a co-founder of TTSA, and their unique way of thinking. Tom notes that Semivan and others have taught him how to analyze information more critically and avoid jumping to conclusions. They emphasize the importance of forming patterns and analyzing data over time. Tom then touches on the idea of not fully grasping the stakes involved in the UAP phenomenon. He explains that initially he struggled to accept the reality of it, despite encountering videos and books on the subject. He emphasizes the importance of verifying the authenticity of such evidence, especially when it comes to videos with a chain of title traced back to the Department of Defense. That's why it was so important with the ones we brought out had chain of title all the way back to the DoD, so we knew those were real. It wasn't just like it was on YouTube and leaked. So it's the idea of bringing forth things that you know where they come from, and you really take it from that point forward, start getting really good data and evidence on people's encounters and the stakes that come with that. And that when I've talked about this as a threat, that's just my words, right? I mean, I would never know the way the government treats. That's not my zone, obviously, he said. He said, but for me, in my own personal research, if something's been here for a long time, a long period of time, and it really is showing up in people's bedrooms, or in front of an F-18, or in a petroglyph wall, or an ancient text down in archives of the Vatican, or whatever it might be, it's obviously doing something. And it's obviously having an influence, and it might only be an influence on where we end up as mankind, or it might be an influence to keep us suppressed in a weird way to where they can take advantage of something, who knows. But it's here for a reason, and it's not really big, forward about its intent, but we do know that we've been dealing with it for a long period of time, he said. Tom then recalls a personal experience when he had a meeting with a couple of generals in Colorado Springs. During the discussion, they talked about things that people were experiencing or witnessing related to UAP phenomenon. This conversation left him feeling uneasy and made him question the safety of his environment, similar to how his religious mother might feel if she encountered something that contradicted her beliefs. He emphasized that the phenomenon's impacts become more significant when it's perceived as real rather than just a belief. He shares his personal belief that as humanity advances in its understanding of consciousness and the UAP phenomenon, it will merge metaphysical conscious science with conventional science. He suggests that this merging might lead to more harmonious coexistence of various religious beliefs, as the core principles of many religions focus on the individual's connection to a higher consciousness. Tom hopes that instead of crumbling, religions will adapt and find common ground in this new understanding of reality. He said, I look at the task force report and I look at what's going on now, and if I were there, and if there was such a thing, like bodies or are great after whatever, so they're so advanced and they're somehow influencing mankind the way we are engineered to evolve or something crazy. Because I look at this now, it's like first we got into the biology of our bodies, then we got deeper into DNA and what's going on. And every time we master parts of the body and parts of the world, we see and touch and feel like, what is the next thing, he said. He says, I think the next thing is going to be discovering consciousness, and then we're going to go, how we manipulate consciousness, and how do we capture it? How do we dare, I'm thinking of things like these beings have been around for so long, they must be in so far beyond wondering about our DNA or wondering about what our spleen does. I think it's going to be probably unnerving, probably complicated, probably a lot that we don't know. And so the idea of the government just coming out and saying, hey, look, what we got before they know what it is, doesn't make any sense to me, he said. For some reason, Tom could not boldly speak about what he had discussed with those generals that kept asking him. In the same context, the case of former NASA researcher Ed Harris might shed some light on what Tom was trying to say. Ed Harris claims that serious researchers on the subject believe the story of former President Jimmy Carter crying after being briefed about classified UFO information to be true. According to the story corroborated by multiple witnesses, the U.S. presidents are given only a brief overview of the subject by the CIA, and presidential curiosity is not considered a sufficient need to know. After being repeatedly stonewalled, Carter was given the talk, quote unquote, which reportedly left him deeply sobbing and visibly disturbed for weeks. He was told that major religions, including Christianity, were created by extraterrestrials to prevent humans from destroying themselves while they ran experiments on us, and that they made us. Carter, a deeply religious man who had witnessed a UFO with 6 other people, realized that releasing such information could cause tremendous economic and social upheaval. Richard Dolan also covered this incident in his book UFOs and the National Security State, The Cover-Up Exposed. He wrote that President Carter was given a UFO briefing at the White House on June 14, 1977, which he was then bound to secrecy about. Astronomer Jacques Valley developed an alternative hypothesis that UFOs are part of a mechanism for controlling mankind. He is one of the few people who added credibility to the ufology. When others called the UFO encounters a hoax, Valley explained it scientifically, and during his interview in 1986, he saw that UFOs are a, quote, physical object that interacts with the environment, that causes effects on the witnesses, on the psychology and physiology, and leaves traces on the ground, and yet are capable of appearing to be manipulating time and space in ways that go beyond what our physics understands, end quote. Dr. Valley argued that when investigating a UFO encounter, the focus should be on the witness and how he or she interpreted the event and how it affected their life. He noted that many people tend to emotionally react to a UFO sighting as a spiritual or religious experience. And this is by Vicky Vermehausen Wise on a Collective Spark. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.